Before the show started and before I cut us off, Max and I were starting to talk geeks. So I'm like, we
Hey.
got to start this show early. So welcome everybody to the Three Geeks podcast. Before the show, Max had mentioned he's going to see Morbius. And I was getting ready to say that, the fans are really excited about the potential of a Spider-Man 4 or an amazing Spider-Man 3. My real issue with that is it's still made by Sony. And while I like Venom, Venom is
Do
not
do we
like,
not get video from you, Jason?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say we don't see you right now. Yeah.
oh, I see me.
Yeah.
Well, that makes one of us.
Yeah. The audience does not.
Fascinating.
Oh, I thought you were just doing something like
Yeah, me
before the
too.
podcast. But,
Be quite the surprise.
all right, yeah, sorry. While you work on that, carry on.
I was saying that even though I would be curious to see maybe Kraven the Hunter with Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire or Amazing Spider-Man 3. And while I like Venom, but that movie is far from like quality filmmaking. The only thing like Sony has done in the Spider-Man universe that's been of quality since Amazing Spider-Man 1 was Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, so like out of what they had seven attempts, including Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They had 2.5 good Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, rough.
Sony sucks. They fucking suck. It is not good. I don't trust them with a fucking thing. There's no way. Like, I'm going to see Morbius today because me and my sister go see superhero movies together, and that's like the only reason. Like I went to buy the tickets, pre-order the tickets. We are the only 2 tickets in the fucking theater.
Mm-hmm.
I checked. Still the only 2 tickets.
Well, the movie's not doing bad box office wise, and the only reason I think that I will find some enjoyment in it is because Mick enjoyed it on the for what it was. He enjoyed it for what it was, and I think that there will be something there that I can probably latch onto, but I don't expect it to be like anything quality wise above like Venom.
I saw it on Tuesday because I have a buddy that's similar to Max and his sister. We just go see movies, like regardless if it's good or bad. It was okay. Meh. It was just a very meh movie. You know what I mean? I don't think Max will hate it, but I don't think you'll like it.
I heard there's a, and this is secondhand knowledge, so I will put the spoiler alert up just in case. But I heard like there's some confusion because it takes place obviously after the multiverse of madness.
Yeah.
And that's kind of confusing because there's characters there that are like, I don't know how I got to this universe, but I'm here now. And
this is classic.
That only matters to my, at least to my, what I could catch for the after credit scene stuff. So for the movie part of it, that shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, but Michael Keaton's character doesn't know how he's there, right? He's just there.
Right.
Okay.
But that is the end credit scene. So.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler that's up. We're good.
Yeah. So luckily it's not in the movie, but like that's what I'm talking about. This is Sony. Like, can you handle something? Tell you what, guys. Tell you what we're doing. We'll just go ahead and fuck everything up. How do you like that? Like, it's not. I mean, like, okay, like we all understand the different characters being pulled in, and Sony is so excited. They're like, they have to include us. Like, we have the rights. They have to include us. Like. They almost go and screw the pooch, and I'm like, dude.
Well, I know anything that they use.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie, just because it's going to be fun to sit in the movie theater and shit on the movie like live action, and like there's not going to be anyone else there to tell me to shut up while I'm talking out loud at the movie.
Yeah, it's going to be great for you. I'm excited for you.
I know that like anything that's directly tied to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they have to get approved by Kevin Feige, which is probably why that one scene is in the post-credit scene, because that's where he approved it going. But
yeah, he's like, you have that in the feature.
Yeah, the end credit scene stuff is just a hot mess for this film, just because there's 2 of them. And I'm not sure you needed 2 of them, like at least from what the message they were trying to provide. So I'll appreciate your feedback on that. I won't.
Yeah. I mean, like, what was the last Marvel movie that came out that had? Well, like one of the end credit scenes was just a trailer for Doctor Strange, and I was like,
Yep.
Why did you do that?
Well, because they couldn't start promoting Doctor Strange until that movie was over, so they're like, we'll just tack it on at the end so people can see it.
Why don't you just put out the Doctor Strange trailer? and not have me sit here like, oh, what's the end credit scene when it's just a fucking commercial.
I loved it. I was glad I got to see Doctor Strange.
Oh
it didn't bother me at all.
God.
But
no,
but at the same time, like it didn't progress any of the like. Yeah.
If you want me to watch a fucking commercial, put the commercial on TV. Like I'm not a fan of this. Like it's now I got to worry about having commercials in my end credit scenes. It's already bad enough to put commercials at the beginning of the movies.
Well, that was a Sony movie, so Marvel probably didn't want to attach anything super big to it. But Doctor Strange 2, speaking of, has sold more tickets in 24 hours than any other movie this year. I'm trying to find out how that relates to No Way Home, but it makes sense, even though, I mean, I guess Batman came out and that was pretty big. So, I mean, I guess there is some, validity to this article, but I'm kind of curious how that stacks up with No Way Home, because No Way Home was also like a big record breaking, like opening day pre-sale stuff. So I'm excited to see Doctor Strange 2. I've seen very little on this movie, and I'm doing that on purpose. But they showed one image, and I guess the Sam Raimi said that Marvel had you need to introduce horror elements to the MCU in this film. And I saw this picture, and just going off of this picture, I think that that we're gonna have some elements that are gonna be creepy.
Yeah, Doctor Strange, the White Walker.
Yeah. Zombie Doctor Strange. We'll see how it goes. Like whatever.
Have you guys seen?
I'm excited for Doctor Strange. I that was the first time I ever saw that picture. Again, it's like they already got my money. Like you don't need to do this advertising. You don't need to have me sit through your fucking commercial at the end of the movie. Like you're gonna show me something that I need to see. I mean, I'm down. I don't have my tickets already, which is kind of weird, and I'm a little afraid now that I'm not gonna be able to get tickets. But it's just like, okay, I just don't need the regular trailer at the end.
Was this one delayed for COVID or anything like that? Was that
this was delayed? It was supposed to come out last year.
Okay.
Everything in the MCU has been delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess maybe Sony, like, I'll give them the break on that one. Like, okay, movie's supposed to come out a year ago. Like, yeah, y'all can only push back your shit so far, and like it's your right to put out a movie that you made. So
they made this in 2019, right? So it's even older than that, I thought. But
yeah, well, I hear it's more like it came out in 2002 or some shit. So
yeah, the CGI.
Here we go. The scene snobs. What do you guys think of the 2 hour and 6 minute runtime for Doctor Strange? It sounds short because of everything that we know.
Because of the Batman.
And No Way Home. But the thing that No Way Home introduced the concept of the multiverse, so we don't really have to do that in this movie. So I'm hoping we just hit the ground running. And I mean, it's hard to really judge a runtime until we've seen the movie. But to me, it does sound short, but it's fine because we got the introduction of the multiverse in the previous film, and even in WandaVision a little bit, even though that's not what it ended up being. But still, like it's been played with a lot, especially in Loki. Loki kind of set up the multiverse too. So I'm hoping, man. I am excited to see this movie. Like Bruce Campbell's in it, and I'm excited that he is in the MCU. Like, let's get going. Like, I'm ready. This movie needs to come out tomorrow.
I wonder who Jimon Hanso is going to play in this one. I think he's already been like 3 or 4 different Marvel and DC characters. So
sweet.
I'm always excited to see him.
Yeah, what a cool feather in your cap. Be like, I'm superhero galore. Yeah.
I just got word that Chris Candy is going to be joining us sooner. So that's going to be a lot of fun. He'll be joining us in about 15 minutes or so. Justin, do you mind tweeting that out, please? And I want to get into a show that Max and I both really enjoyed, but for some reason we haven't kept up with it. And that is that Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston will be in the final season of Better Call Saul, which makes sense because they're getting to that point where they're going to start connecting to the original show. And I'm not surprised by this at all, and I'm excited to see. I know Max isn't like prequels, but anything that gives me more Walter White played by Bryan Cranston, I'm okay with.
This is dumb because we already saw everything from their perspective in Breaking Bad. Like they met Saul
But we're not getting
no
it
one
from their
knew
perspective.
Saul before they met him.
Yeah,
You
but we're
know?
not getting it from their perspective. We're getting it from Saul's perspective.
Right, but everything from Saul's perspective is the same. Like, so we're gonna go. They're gonna redo scenes from
No, I don't
Breaking Bad.
think they're gonna be in the whole season. I think it's gonna be more of like maybe an extended cameo. But
No, who cares? Like, I'm like, this is dumb. Like, this is dumb. I'm sorry. Nothing against Bryan Cranston, nothing against Aaron Paul, but this is dumb. Like we already know when the characters met each other. Like, we've already seen that. Like, I don't know what they can add to this. Like,
well, we do know that Aaron Paul's character lives. I have not seen El Camino. I need to see El Camino.
So it's going to be a post. It's like a after everything.
Maybe because there are parts of Better Call Saul where it's after everything.
Yeah, okay, like that I can deal with, but I mean, how's it Walter White that he's fucking dead? Like, that doesn't make it. It's like Bryan Cranston's
just continual flashbacks, just like.
But I mean, again, like if it's a flashback, then it's Breaking Bad, and we've already seen everything. And if it's a flash forward, then Bryan Cranston's dead. Like, we don't. There's nothing else. Like, I don't know. I'm just like.
We'll see how it plays out. I'm curious to see how it plays out.
I'm gonna my fucking dumb shit bell is ringing like hardcore right now.
I wish it was an actual bell.
I need to catch up on this show. But really
Better Call Saul is sweet. I would say I don't want to shit on Breaking Bad.
I've watched the first couple seasons, but I'm not really kept up with it.
Neither have I, but for no reason at all. Like every time I see that it's there, I'm like, I need to watch this because I really liked it.
Yeah, for sure. It's quality television.
I mean, after Nobody, he'll just come to your house and whoop your ass, right? You better watch the show.
Like Vince Gilligan did something that's not a lot of people can do. He successfully made a spinoff to one of the best TV shows of all time. Anybody out there that doesn't have Breaking Bad in their top 10 of all time hasn't seen Breaking Bad. So, like, it totally fits.
Yes, finally someone agrees with me.
It might. We don't know what the cameo is, like, at all. So it could be Walter White's dead body for all we know. Like,
I mean, like if it was just Aaron Paul, like I would be a little more excited because that says that, hey, I think we're getting what happens after
Aaron Paul in the woods.
Yeah, just driving to El Camino, like, okay, whatever. Like that would be fine. But I Better Call Saul did something. Hey, they fucking did something that I normally I can't stand a prequel. I'm fucking not down for prequels. And Better Call Saul has like 6 seasons of prequel that I really, really want to see. Like, kudos, but like, yeah, this stuff is depending on what they do, borderline dumb. But I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because they have put together like some of the best TV, of all time. Like,
have you guys seen El Camino?
Yeah.
No.
See, that's another thing that I want to watch. I keep forgetting that
that's a low-hanging fruit. It's on Netflix, right? So
it's good, right?
Yeah, I liked it.
I heard it's really good. Mm-hmm. And I like Aaron Paul as Jesse. And they did a thing recently, and Gus has been on the show, right? Better Call Saul, I think, for a few seasons. But yeah, no, that made absolute sense.
Yes, yes, because they have a full relationship before that stuff that we don't know about. Like, okay, I'm happy to see that stuff, but like, yeah, it's really dodgy.
One thing that I respect a lot about Better Call Saul was that they didn't force the cameos. Like, I saw the first few seasons, and none of the cameos felt forced. Like, everything seemed organic and natural. Like, they didn't have the first episode start with all these characters. Like, we didn't see Saul, we didn't see Gus, we didn't see this. But I think they did it really well. So I'm curious. Scene Snobs, Mick says that El Camino was good, but weak compared to the shows. That makes sense.
I agree with that.
That's like comparing, one of the greatest things of all time. It's hard to even get close to that. But
well, I mean, it's like the closest thing I can think of is be like Serenity and Firefly.
Yeah.
And like how it holds up and yada yada yada. But either way, if it's good, then yeah. I mean, like I like to give these guys the benefit of the doubt because they have put together just solid fucking television for so long. But yeah, like if the movie doesn't hold up to the show, that's like saying you're like, oh, okay, like LeBron James isn't as good as Michael Jordan.
Yeah, all good.
That's fair. We can get into this as much as you guys want to, but director James Gunn revealed that he cut a scene with Aquaman having sex with a fish.
From
Is he
Peacemaker?
joking?
Peacemaker.
Is he?
It's hard to know if James Gunn is joking, but that show would have totally made sense to have that scene.
If there was like a mermaid or something, or like if they could breathe it, like what defines fish like species wise, like what?
I mean, to that end, because you're almost sabotaging that character for future stuff. If for a very, very lowbrow joke, you know what I mean? Like, oh, Jason Momoa is effing a fish now, like, you know what I mean?
And also it's like Aquaman. It's like it's hard to keep Aquaman relevant and cool. Like you're really just throwing him to
the wolves.
No pun intended, throwing him to the sharks. But it's like
he'll talk to the sharks.
The quote says, "I have tons of stuff I didn't use." Gunn tells Total Films. Ezra went on, and I'm not kidding, for 16 minutes about Aquaman having sex with a fish. It was really funny. Then we had just one quick shot of Momoa banging the shit out of a sturgeon.
That's I mean, it's funny in concept, but like I feel like you'd really be detracting from the actual character, like for future use of it. Like if you're gonna be like,
I didn't like Aquaman, so that would have cracked me up.
Aquaman is like better than half the Justice League crap. Oh, how did they get out of the desert? But other than that, like
my gills are dry.
No, that's definitely like you said, like a lowbrow comedy that you don't. I mean, it was already lowbrow enough. Like you don't need to actually show him fucking the fish.
If they were gonna kill the universe and him not ever have any other movies and stuff like that, then they're like, you know what I mean? Like if we're never gonna talk about that version of Aquaman ever again, throw it in there. But if you're gonna have more stuff for him, I think it's probably best to not have.
And I mean, like Aquaman from that, like Jason Momoa Aquaman is pretty sick as far as Aquaman.
I agree. Yeah, as far as Aquaman goes, he's pretty great.
But I mean, like, hey, if we're gonna get rid of this Aquaman and do some Black Lad, I'm down.
I'm down too. I just like the name.
We're getting an Orphan Black sequel series called Echoes, greenlit at AMC Plus. No word on how Tatiana Maslany is going to be involved, but actually hold that thought.
I still haven't made it all the way through Orphan Black. Like, it's
so
really
good, man.
But
She's
like,
phenomenal actress.
I think season 2 or 3 where it just starts to like drag, and I cannot get past it.
All right, everybody. I want to take a minute. We got our guest here, Chris Candy. How you doing, buddy?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. What were you guys talking about before I popped in?
Orphan Black spinoff series.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Had you ever seen that?
No, I have. Well, what's that one about?
All right, so it's starring this lady called Tatiana Maslany, and she's a great actress, and she plays clones. There's like 6 or 7 clones, and she plays all of them. And like there's this whole like conspiracy thing, and yada yada yada. Like all the drama goes through that. But she plays 6 different characters, and she does so well that you don't even recognize the different characters as her. Like they're all their own specific person, and it's really, really good. We were just saying it kind of does drag, I think, for half a season or 2, but the story is solid. It's really, really great acting.
How many seasons are they at? Oh, there's my coffee.
I think there was 5, and it ended. It's like super popular. It's like her playing the different clones is just so phenomenal to the point where you're like, I think that one is very, very attractive. Like you're pointing out which one, like the differences in them.
You're like, oh no, I'm totally
bang
like Allison, but I would not bang this other one. And you're like, they're all literally the same person. But no, it's really good.
But let's talk about you, man. Bumper to Bumper is great.
Oh, the podcast? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think we're coming up on like our 100th episode of that. That podcast is so ridiculous. It gets so crazy. I'm like constantly like just in like inner turmoil with Rick. But yeah, it's been fun. We've been having a good time, and we just got our friend Aldous, who's a guy working for Rick. He's been helping out with the pod, and yeah, it's been going really great. It's changing so much, that show. It used to be like like an interview based show where we'd be in like our cars interviewing people, and now it's like just devolved. Like, so actually one of the favorite things I've been doing with it is we've been like going man on the street, and like we're walking around Los Feliz just like interviewing people, and like we've got the microphones, and it's just really fun to kind of like see who's going to be the random person we bump into that week. So I guess it kind of makes sense for bumper to bumper, God.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite in-person interview then? The random person on the street interview? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, we did this one where it was funny because we don't really pre-plan them, like, your pod maybe, you just kind of go into wanting to talk about it. And so we were walking one day, and it was kind of like a gray day outside, and I was like, all right, maybe nothing's going on. And we bump into this dude who, his name is Tony Fanara, and Tony's this like local legend in the Los Feliz area, and he owns an Italian restaurant. Anyways, he's running for governor of California.
Oh wow!
And he's this short old Italian guy. So we basically get invited in to have a meeting with him, and the whole podcast then took like a right turn from like normal comedy podcast to like we spent like 40 minutes talking to this guy about his life and coming from Sicily over to Los Angeles and his whole history and what he would do to run for mayor. And there was some funny stuff that kind of got mined out of that, but we just let him talk. And I just like, I think I loved the left turn that episode took. So that was always super fun. And then also like, also just bumping into friends is always nice too. We actually, funny enough, we were doing one episode and we walked by Ron Perlman, the actor who played Hellboy.
Wow.
But it was one of those things where I was like, he doesn't want to talk to anybody, right? He's like leaving, but we're like this mobile, like podcast. And but I could tell out of the corner of my eye, he didn't want to talk to anybody. So I just said, Ron, baby, we love you. And we walked by. So that was a pretty funny one. And then I bumped into my girlfriend was getting lunch, and we ran up on them, her and her friend, and that was also very funny too. So.
Oh my God! If I saw Ron Perlman in the street, I would probably just die from geek. I'd have a geekgasm right there. I mean, I hope he's cool. Like, have you met him like in person? Have you talked to him like before?
No, you know what? I have this like very funny relationship with Ron Perlman because I had never met him, but I've had two moments in my life. One being the bumper to bumper moment, and the other moment was I was in like this educational therapy program when I was a kid. Like I might have been in the 4th grade, and I was seeing this one guy, and he was at a school that I guess Perlman's kid went to or something. And anyways, I was in the middle of a session, and Ron Perlman opened the door, and he was like talking to the doctor or the educator. Hey, one second, I just need to. And then he's like, I can't talk to you right now. I can't talk to you right now. And I like remembered it was Ron Perlman, and I was like, oh my God. And then over the course of my lifetime now, like I've seen him pop up as Hellboy, and all of these. I love all of the times that he gets put in like Guillermo films. Like I was just watching. I was at Pacific Rim the other day. His character is so cool in that movie. But I'm like, I've seen you like, in these very random parts in my life. So
there's a weird Thanos comic book where Thanos just picks on one dude. Like every year on this guy's birthday, Thanos will come and just like ruin his life. Yeah. It's weird that like Ron
Perlman's Thanos
pops up like
he's my constant callback character. Yeah. But no, besides my Matrix glitch with Ron Perlman in my life, everything's been going good. Yeah, podcast is going great, and then making a ton of fun stuff out here in LA. And yeah, it's been nice. I'm doing a bunch of podcasts actually right now. I've been doing that, and then me and Rob Belushi and this guy Blake Howard have been doing one called Too Much Movie, which is a movie podcast. So we've been picking these like really great 90s flicks and doing deep dives on them. Blake has done this podcast called One Heat Minute, which was it's basically have you ever seen the movie Heat, the LA movie, the Michael Mann film?
Oh yes.
So Blake has dedicated a whole podcast career to this movie where he's done one episode per 1 minute of the movie Heat. And
oh my gosh.
Episode, he actually interviews Michael Mann for the final episode of the pod. And Blake and I met via Rob, and we would talk about movies. And so we've done a bunch of stuff. So the most recent one we did was on Backdraft, and then we've got the Ghost into the Darkness coming up for our next episode. So.
All right.
That's awesome. I need to find that. I'm a movie geek, like hardcore.
It sounds incredible.
You all would love it. Yeah.
It sounds incredibly hard to do a podcast for a minute of a movie. Just like that sounds hard.
It depends on which minute.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's surprising how he works it, because he breaks down every frame and I was even talking to my girlfriend the other day about this. John Waters, the director, had this thing where he said, I met him once, and John Waters said, I'm name dropping left and right this episode. John Waters said that even if I hate watching a movie, I can always find something interesting about it, and he'll watch like the set dressing or the wardrobe, or there's always something so interesting. So that's basically what Blake is doing. Like in each scene, he's finding something to break down. So yeah,
cool.
But yeah, so that it's been good. So check out that, and then there's a running podcast I've been doing with my friend. I love going on runs and stuff. So that's been super fun to do.
That one's not for me.
Is there a laying down one?
Yeah. Is there a giant bowl of popcorn podcast that you do?
The lazy Sunday
Maybe I
version.
can have one of you guys on, and we could talk about like why the keys to chilling. That would be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
The best way to relax.
For sure. Now you're talking my language. No, it's weird too how you notice like you start doing a podcast and then like it evolves into 7 podcasts. Like
Right.
you just all of a sudden have all these things to do, and also like the one that you started with isn't how it was when you started.
Right.
Our podcast has definitely evolved into something else, which I
Sure.
love it. But like it's very interesting to watch that whole journey of we started, like here's where we got to, and I think that's really cool too. You guys like, hey, Bumper to Bumper was meant to be this thing, and it kind of just turned into something else, but roll with it, like that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, and I feel like that's like the best way for things creatively to evolve, right? They just have to evolve and change and turn into something new. Where did 3 Geeks start out at? Where were you guys?
Well, there was only 3 of us for one. Now there's like 18 guys we can call at any time, but like we just wanted to talk about movies and stuff like that. We didn't have any guests. We didn't have it was just the 3 of us talking about like anything that happened, superhero news or anything like that. We kind of tried to stay in a lane, and now it's like we have different people on. We've had musicians. We've had like different people like who work in different areas of movies and stuff like that. And it's been really cool. We have a whole interview series now that that's its own thing, and it's just it's very, very different from where we started.
Yeah, we're even doing some production work. We're producing a short form show with Larry Hankin.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Larry the actor, right? But
yes.
But Larry was wasn't he in?
Throw a picture, Jason. I know you have a picture.
Well,
yeah,
no,
he was in Planes, Trains with your dad.
Yeah. I saw Larry do a 1-person show in Los Angeles back in like 1995. That's so funny.
Yeah. He's doing painting now. Like he's doing a lot of different things. Yeah. Like, and then like a lot of his art is really good. Like I
would have bet.
Yeah, no, it's like you don't ever know these things until you end up talking. And then you're finding out about these things.
Until talking.
Larry Hankin is one of the. Oh yeah, of course. He's one of our time's great character actors. He's just he's brilliant at what he does. Oh, I can't wait to see whatever you guys put together with Larry.
We're doing like a interview series with him, but we're starting at like when he was born. So he's telling us stories about burning down a barn when he was a kid and dealing with bullying, like Carl Gottlieb. Now I'm gonna name drop Carl Gottlieb, the writer of Jaws, was Larry Hankin's best friend, and he was getting bullied by the band. Ironically,
at Syracuse,
by the band.
Yeah.
And then it's fascinating. His life is fascinating.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I think that's an awesome endeavor. Holy crap, I can't wait to hear that. That's going to be really great.
Yeah,
That's
like
really
Hankin
my only
story.
claim to fame is that I have Larry Hankin as a friend.
Well, no, but I mean, like again, it's like one of those things where you didn't. It's like, hey, we got Larry Hankin on, and you think, okay, this will be an interview, and it'll be fun. Like he's been in so many different things. Like you're saying, one of the great character actors of our time, and then it becomes this whole other thing. And like he's so cool, and he's just like really interesting to talk to. He's really like nervous and like not how you'd expect of this guy who's been in so many things and met so many people to be. But yeah,
he called
it's
us
really
the other day to explain NFTs to him. So we explained how NFTs work.
Oh my goodness! I still need an
possibility of being on
explanation
it.
about that.
I know. I was gifted an NFT, and I had to kind of share the gift. It was like, and I was like, I don't really know how to explain what this is, but it's we're definitely in a new world with that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's more of like the internet and the way it's becoming. It's more like, hey, your imagination is also a realm of like that we can exist in, and it's weird to think of like ownership of property in the imagination land, but like that's that's where we're getting to. It's and again, it's like
yes, would you like a ride on the gooey gumdrop ride? Because
Put on your headset. Let's go.
It's like an earwig.
Yeah, it's a weird like Ready Player One sort of deal we got going on.
So since I'm on 3 Geeks Pod, I think I have to share my like geekiest thing since I've last talked to you guys. So the 2 things I'm most like geeked out about is one is like I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan, so I'm really excited about the new film, even though I haven't liked the last like 4 films of the franchise.
Dude, I'm there with you, man. Dominion, I can't wait for either. I thought World was okay. I thought Fallen Kingdom felt like a Looney Tunes cartoon towards the end because like dinosaurs were bumping their heads and shaking it off. Like it was really weird. But Dominion looks awesome. Anytime you get more Goldblum, Independence Day 2 being the exception, it's always great.
Right.
Well, Goldblum was Goldblum the worst part of Independence Day 2, or
no?
was
I doubt it. It's probably the highlight.
Dude, I am like, it's like being a franchise fan of that movie is like being like a fan of like a losing baseball team. It's just I really want it to be good and I want to win the World Series, but every time I go, like I went and saw Fallen Kingdom with my friend, and he was like, this is gonna be really bad, and I was like, maybe it won't be, maybe it'll be good. I'm always like rooting for it. And then my friend's brother left a previous screening and he was just like, oh my God, Clark, it's terrible. Like even Chris Pratt couldn't save it. Like, and then he showed me it, and then I was just like, shit. And then we were watching it. I was just like, I couldn't stand up for it. But even with this one, I'm like, all right, let's just see what happens, Chris. Like, and I'm excited that they're gonna have like a new world of stuff, and they're gonna, seems like they're gonna do other things. So I just love that world. The first one was the first movie it was actually maybe the last major movie I watched with my dad, so it has this like really memory for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, but on top of it, it's just so fucking good.
Yeah, right. I mean, like it's worth it. Like
it's just
Spielberg, right? I mean, what are you gonna do?
But then, like, I think that was the first franchise too. I remember, like, I think it was the first experience of leaving a sequel of a movie you love and going like, wait a sec, like. That was like my first like interaction with like, this isn't that good, you know?
Oh, for sure. I love Jurassic Park too, because that was the first time where the movie made me go read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good point.
And the book was totally different, and so I was like, holy crap! Like they're allowed to do that, like they didn't do this or that, like. But I'm glad I saw it in that order, or I experienced it in that order.
So,
yeah.
But, when they came out with Jurassic World, I was like, finally, here we go. The dinosaurs are going to be over the world. And it was like, no, it's just another theme park. I was like, come on.
I will say for Fallen Kingdom, the first 15 minutes of that movie was awesome. Fantastic. It was great. I'm like, all right, this movie might be better than the last one. Like, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then it falls apart.
Yeah, I there's always these moments in those movies where I kind of cringe, where I'm just like, really? Like, that was the take you're gonna use in this movie? Yeah. But the dinosaur, like when they started giving dinosaurs personalities, that's I think when we went downhill. Because like the first one is like they're animals, they're just like beasts, like they're not controllable. You know what I mean? Like that was so great about it. And then like, yeah, like when you see like they turned like the raptor into like E.T., you know what I mean? And he's like, wah! It's like, what? Like this is
Oh my god!
I did
and
not.
Also, it's like it's so arrogant because the point of the whole thing is that humans like
can't control
go
stuff,
too far.
right?
Yeah, like there's stuff that we just can't control, and once you let it loose, it's out, and then there's nothing to be done about it. And then it's like, oh, actually, there is something to be done about it. You can just train them, and then it's sort of like circus lions. And that's it. So like this giant 4,000-pound thing is gonna listen to little Chris Pratt, like because of what?
Because of what? Yeah, because of a clicker. You've got a little.
So do you think Fast and the Furious and Jurassic Park mixing together would just jump the shark? Because there was a lot of like random fan theories about like mushing the two franchises together.
Here's a fun one. I went and saw the new Fast and the Furious, right? It was like the first movie I think I went to a movie theater to see, and went with a bunch of friends, and like, we're all in the movie theater. We went to Universal Studios, and at the time, this is how much of a nerd I am. At the time, they were going to show the trailer for the new Jurassic World, but they were only going to show it in IMAX. And so I was trying to get like a bunch of people to go to the IMAX for some reason. They're like, I was like, well, we can go to the IMAX one, and they were like, nah, that ticket's like $15 more. Like, let's just go to the regular one. I was like, fine. So I basically left the middle of Fast and the Furious to go to another screening of the IMAX movie of Fast and the Furious 9, to go and watch the trailer for the new Jurassic Park for 5 minutes. And then I came back and watched Fast and the Furious.
Sir, I will punch your geek card. That is 100%.
That's like, do I get like a geek card? Yeah.
No, that's a stamp for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people did that for me.
You get 2 free drinks at your local geek restaurant.
Yeah, where does that put you on the meter?
That's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's like 87% geek right there.
Certified fresh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. At the very least.
Thank you.
I have never done that.
I gotta ask.
Awesome.
I'm an intuitive geek. I try to plan it out.
I like that. You're like, hey guys, like, why don't we? At first it was very, very just subtle and like, okay, like if I can get to the IMAX, then that's fine. But leaving the theater to go watch the movie in IMAX just to see the trailer,
I respect it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I love that move.
I got to ask you, as a fellow podcaster, like, because I noticed your last episode was about the Chris Rock Will Smith situation. Did you and your partner were you guys just so annoyed that like, I guess we should cover this? Like, let's get together and let's talk about the slap. Or did you guys like excited to talk? Because I remember texting Max, and I'm like, we should probably talk about this. So we did a whole thing where we talked about it, and I was just curious, like, what were your thoughts about covering it?
I always think like I think that when like popular moments like that come up, sometimes like they're juvenile enough where I'm like, yeah, like who cares? It's like just popcorn talk. And then there's other stuff where I'm just like, I feel like this day and age, like with so much media out there in the world and so many people having a microphone in front of them and being able to talk, like it's just because we could doesn't mean we should. To quote Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I sometimes I'm like, why? I think that's always like the joke with Rick and I. I'm kind of like, Rick always feels like we need to talk about like the most like current topic, and I'm always like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like seriously, like and I think with like a thing like that incident that happened, it was so like you know what's funny about a moment like that is that it just goes to show the times we live in, because an incident happens, right? And it's like, it sucks, right? It's like, that sucked that happened. But then everybody hops on with their perspective of it. And it immediately becomes a conspiracy. Everyone paints their own stuff over it. And now we have enough content to like fill the Apple Podcast library for like 5 weeks. So it's like, I sometimes want to do the opposite and be like, who gives a shit? So that's, even in that episode, I'm kind of just like, I will tend to then just kind of like, if Rick is going to talk about it, then I'll just play into him talking about it, and then just like be, you know, I'll mine other jokes out of Rick being a maniac wanting to talk about it.
That's kind of how Max and I are. I'm like, okay, we should hit this topic because it'll be good on Twitter. And then he'll be like, all right, I guess we'll do it. We're going to do it quick, and we're going to do it this one time, and then we don't really need to bring it up again.
Yeah, it's also giant perspective, right? I mean, people are getting bombed right now, and we're like, we're worried about a Will Smith slap. Like, it's like,
the whole world forgot about Ukraine for a week.
No, like you're saying, like it's not anything really. Like, one guy slapped. Like, how many people get slapped every day? And we're worried about this. You know, it's like, okay, don't invite Will Smith to award shows because he doesn't know how to act. And
we're to the comedy club.
Like,
yeah, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like when we were all, you know, in grade school, and it was like, you know, we would be talking about like a story in history class or something like that, and that, we're bringing it up again.
You're not wrong.
But no, it's, you know, we would all be talking about these things, and then, you know, everyone would raise their hand to talk, and then you know, it would always just be that feeling of like, we're talking about it a little too long, everybody, you know. And so that's how I ended up feeling about stuff like that. But I just think in general, I would say in regards to like podcasting and talking about things in the world, everyone I think thinks there's the one thing you need to talk about, but quite frankly, there's a billion other things that are way more interesting to talk about, you know, especially as we move forward in the world, because everyone's going like, oh, there's this narrative and we're following this thing. And it's like, I call bullshit on that. I think everybody wants to talk about the narrative that people say that is out there in the world. Like, you know, let's talk about something else, because there's no rules, and why the fuck not? Let's talk about Jurassic Park. Let's have, you know,
We used to do.
Speaking of Jurassic Park,
we used to do this thing where you would literally search like weird news stories and talk about those instead of whatever was super popular. And that was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, John Orlando is good for that.
Hot take.
Definitely. John Hot Take Orlando is really good for a weird out of left field news story.
So what was your second geek thing that you were talking about?
Oh yeah, and then I will just. So I was thinking about like what. We'll always talk Jurassic Park. My second geek thing is during the pandemic, since like we weren't traveling around a lot. I don't know. Stop me if I brought this up already, but I would start watching like POV videos of people going to amusement parks because I couldn't go. And so I got really into like weird like nerd videos of people going to Disney World. And like I discovered so many, like I discovered a world. There's like a world of people whose their whole life is to just travel around and like go to amusement parks and rate them and talk about them. And
let's do that.
I can only do so much Disney. That's not for me.
Fair enough. It was just like, it was this weird, like, it was funny because like, you know, it was interesting. Like, how do I put this? Like, I always say this, like, the world is such a big place, and like it was just like a crazy world to go into like someone else's story and see what they were up to. And I was like, you know, there's all these different channels of it going on, and it was also funny to see like right now everyone's really angry with Disney because they're so expensive. So it's really funny to see these like YouTube channel people going like, that's it, I'm finally done. I'm done with Disney. Like, it's funny to see these people, wipe their hands of it. I think I mine like some humor out of it for some reason. I'm not sure what I'm doing with it yet, but I've been like really into seeing this. Like, and like people will go to like hotels and be like, see, isn't this nice? This is the standard room at the Polynesian resort. You get a especially clean remote control and all the soaps that I know and love. Like I don't know.
Like a remote control.
My
on
top
nagging.
5 hotel.
Where am I in my life?
No, my wife absolutely loves to watch people at Disney on TikTok. She'll watch a TikTok live of somebody standing in line at Disney.
That's the only thing to do at Disney.
But she's not at Disney. If you're at Disney waiting in line, I understand waiting in line at Disney. If you are not there, why are you going to watch the POV of someone standing in line at Disney?
You go to the grocery store and have a very similar experience if you have earbuds.
Yes. Oh my God. And it's just like, oh, it's a small world. I'm like, why do you know this? Like, what is
I know, it's weird. There is a guy who does a news show for Disney, and he treats it seriously. Like, and maybe as he should. You know what I mean? Like and he talks shit. You know what I mean? And like he's like, the price increase over in Tomorrowland. Like, I swear to God, it's crazy. Like, they've created their own ecosystem, and there's like now like commentating channels that like are like pro and con or of this. Anyways.
Yeah,
that is the geeky shit I've been up to.
But speaking of, sorry, like there's a whole like Disney has created their own like ecosystem. Like they actually have like the land that they own in Florida is it's actually quite interesting how much they can do. Like they're their own judicial system. They're their own they can create. Oh yeah, it's actually
Mickey
quite
Mouse
fascinating.
is beheading people in the basement, just like its own kingdom.
Beside like again, like It's a Small World in the Epcot Center. Like there's a whole thing about Disney. Like they can do whatever they want. They can like they have their own. They can set up their own police. They can set up their own everything. It's really. Really weird.
Oh man, Judge Dredd Mickey Mouse be great.
Oh
just walking around just enforcing the law.
Unfortunately, I gotta take off early, guys. So that's it for me. I'm out. But Chris, it was great to see you. Glad to have you back on the pod.
It's good to see you. I'm gonna dip out too, actually.
Chris, I got one quick question for you before you go.
Yeah, please.
I didn't ask you last time. I just wanted to know what's your favorite of your dad's movies.
Oh man, favorite of my dad's movies. That's a great question. You know, I seasonally like all kinds of different ones. You know what I mean? Like, but ones that I like. I think like if you're gonna go for like the standard best one, it's like easily Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is like the best. Like, film. Like it's just like it just tugs at all the right things, and it's just like a really like perfect comedy that like. Goes the test of time. I just think it's constantly funny, but then like I'll kind of hit like moments of like nostalgia and miss him, and like Who's Harry Crumb was like a really like it's an old dated comedy, but I just like really love that time in his life, so I always like really love watching that film because I know like he loved being able to be like such a goofy guy in that one. But yeah, I think like if I were to have like a favorite, it would most likely be Planes, Trains. I think that one is just like, because also I spent such a good amount of time with Spaceballs is great too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like even just the John Hughes connection, and John meant so much to me in my life. Like I feel like to see that work show up on the screen, it's just doesn't get better than that.
The one that I found myself really loving recently was Delirious. It was so ahead of its time.
Yeah. It's funny. We were watching, I guess they're not the exact same. We were watching Lost City last night. We went and saw that new Channing Tatum movie. It was actually great. But there was an element of Delirious in it where she's a writer and she's trying to write, her next novel. And they kind of played with the themes that Delirious played with, where Delirious is a great concept for a script. A soap TV writer who writes himself, gets in an accident and wakes up in his soap show. That's a great one too. I also remember that time of him making that movie, and again, like just for me, it was just such a great time. Being around that era, and that was directed by a guy named Tom Mankiewicz, and Tom Mankiewicz was directed Superman, well, not the first one, but one of the Supermans, and he was just like a Hollywood, legend. So I know that the director of that, my dad getting to work with Mankiewicz was like a big deal, like that. He was Hollywood kind of royalty. So that movie is. I love those like early '90s comedies of his because the era just this. I don't know. It's like a warm coat that time, and like I've been watching the Larry Sanders Show every night before I go to bed, and that era is just like, ooh, I love it. So much fun.
Fantastic. I grew up in that era too. I think I'm only a few year age difference with you, but yeah, no, that era of television comedy was fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Chris. And
Jason, thank you. Sorry it took forever to get back on, man, but I'll hop on when I can.
Absolutely, man.
Love to have
maybe after Jurassic Park comes out, I'll hop in and I'll do a review of what I thought of the new Jurassic Park.
That'd be fantastic. I got to say, man, even though it's been a couple years since you've been on, you've been really good about, staying in touch. So I want to thank you for that, because a lot of people, they could ignore you or whatever, but you've always been like quick to respond, like very quick to respond. And I appreciate that very, very much. I think you're great. I want to continue to see you do great things. And again, yeah, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for joining us. And next time you come on, we'll talk about Bobby's World.
Love to have you.
Okay, good. Bobby's World, Jurassic Park.
Awesome.
Right,
and Chris,
universes collide.
Last thing, Chris, Larry had expressed some interest in talking to you sometime. So if you ever want to connect with Larry Hankin, let me know, and I'll get you two together.
I'd love that. Please. Yeah, send me let's link that up. That'd be great.
Okay. Awesome, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Cool. Thanks,
Take
Chris.
care. Bye, guys.
Bye. I love him. Like,
yeah, he's great.
Seriously, I love him. A few years ago, John Candy was trending on Twitter, and I noticed Chris Candy and Jen Candy, had retweeted something, and I'm like, I never thought about John Candy's kids. Like, I want to talk to them. And when we had Chris on the first time, we made it a point not to bring up his dad, because we wanted to get to know Chris. Like, we want to know Chris. We did talk about Camp Candy, which kind of led into his dad a little bit, but because he was a voice on the show. And it's just him and his sister. They're so talented in their own right. And any chance I get to promote them, I'm going to do it, because I think they're fantastic. And like I said, Chris is always quick to respond on Instagram. So, yeah.
That's great. It was great having him. First time meeting him. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we got news stories to cover still. And I kind of wished Mike had been here for today, but he wasn't. So you guys got Justin and I to wrap up the show. It's not going to be much longer. We got a few more things to cover, and then I'm going to go sleep. No, I'm not.
I'm going to go to bed.
Have you heard of the show The Dropout with Elizabeth Holmes?
No. Is it College Dropout or something else? No, I've not seen it.
You know who Elizabeth Holmes is, right? She Theranos. She was the entrepreneur in Silicon Valley who created like.
Okay, so she's the actual CEO of that, where she like ripped off a bunch of people. Yeah.
Amanda
I know she forged a bunch of information.
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried deserves all of the Emmys for playing Elizabeth Holmes. She was fantastic. It's a very well written show, very good show. It's funny when you're watching a show based on reality, because I'm watching a few of them right now, and then you see the documentary pop up, and you're like, no, I don't want to ruin the show. I don't want to spoil the show. Once the show is over, I'll go watch the documentary. Like, I don't want reality to be spoiled for me. Are you kidding me? I want to watch it unfold in front of me. So I highly recommend The Dropout. It is easily a 5 out of 5. If you got some time, check it out. Amanda Seyfried, just give her the award now, and just don't even have an Emmy. But, back to the Orphan Black stuff we were talking about earlier. And I want to thank Kathleen and Jesse and Mick for all of your comments so far. Please keep them coming in. And get back to the Orphan Black sequel series, Echoes. It's coming to AMC Plus, and let me see, with a series for the critically acclaimed. The 10 episodes will continue to dive deep into how scientific experiences influence human existence. The sequel will also follow a group of women that band together in order to find out the mysteries of their identities. It sounds kind of similar to the original series, and I don't know what the show is going to look like without Tatiana Maslany, but I'm curious because, it's in the same universe and we could get cameos. Who knows how it'll affect like She-Hulk and stuff, but I'm just excited to go back into this world. Did you watch Orphan Black, Justin?
No, but you guys have talked about it enough where I need to. I've not watched it. I'm excited to watch it, though. I've heard it's good.
Phenomenal. Like Max was saying, if you don't know that it's one person playing all 6 characters, you're gonna think that it's just a set of sextuplets playing in the show because they're all different, very different personalities, very different looks. Like it's phenomenal, and even when they're acting on screen together, like the visual effects for the show are really, really good for being a BBC television series for the time that it came out. So I can't wait to dive back into this universe. Hopefully, we have some Orphan Black fans out there, and if you're not, you need to join the
the Orphan Black Club.
Lock and Key is going to end with season 3 on Netflix. I had a feeling that it was going that way from
Was
when we
it?
talked
Was
to
people
Halia
not
last.
watching it? Yeah, were people not watching it or what?
What's that?
What? Sorry, go no. Finish your thought. Sorry, I interrupted.
I said I kind of had that feeling with the way that Halia was talking and the way that Jesse was talking when we had them on recently that the show was coming to an end. But it sounds like the creators had it planned to end the show at season 3, and I can't wait. I love this series. Again, I'm not reading the comic books because I don't want to have to compare the two.
Yeah,
like I like not having that knowledge to go into the show and be like, well, that's not the same. So when the show's over, I'm going to dive into the comic books. But I really like the show, and I'm excited to see where it goes with season 3. I'm sad it's coming to an end, but I'm one of those people that tell your story and get out.
yeah. I mean, yeah. If they can form the whole and to be honest, from I've read the comic books, right? There is, if they hit the end of that the whole storyline, there's not much else, right? Like if they solve it and they could have a good conclusion, it could be a really good storyline if they're following what the comic book did.
Have you watched the show?
I have not yet. I just even same thing with the Wheel of Time. Like these are some of my favorite like fantasy things, and I don't really want I have a vision in my head of what they are, and like it takes a lot for me to actually sit down and watch anything that I'm actually passionate about when it comes to like a written word thing.
Do you have a tough time separating the two?
Yeah, it's because I don't give them a fair shake. I don't get any. I really don't. I don't think I give it I watched the first 2 episodes of Wheel of Time and I was like, this is kind of not great. But people have liked the first couple episodes of it. But it's just like I don't think same with the Halo thing. I imagine I probably wouldn't be a very good reviewer of the Halo thing because I played all the games and stuff. You know what I mean?
I thought the Halo series is pretty good so far.
Yeah.
But I've only
I'm glad people like it. I hope they all do. I hope have as many seasons as you can get out of it, right? But
just tell your story and get out.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy on television.
Yeah.
Tell your story and get out. I used to be the guy, give me all the episodes. And as a big fan of Lost, Lost is my favorite show of all time. But that is the show that made me want them to get in and get out. Because season 2 and 3 should have been one season. And it was stretched out because, networks want money and they want to prolong something that's great so they can make their money. But big proponent of get in, get out.
Tell your story to your point, make it a good story, and then just end it. And then people will be satisfied. Like that's what happened to Game of Thrones, right? They should have taken 2 or 3 more seasons if they needed to. That's a meaty series to just try to end for a Star Wars gig that you ended up folding on. But
absolutely. And then Willow, the Lucasfilm television series based on the movie, I think it's a sequel series, cast Talisa Garcia, making history as first trans actress cast by Lucasfilms. Good on her. Good on her. Sure. I'm glad that they're opening their minds and casting different voices and giving people opportunities. It's fantastic. I can't wait to check out Willow. Have you seen the Willow movie?
No, is it good?
I don't know. If I've seen it, I don't remember it, but it was one of George Lucas's non-Star Wars movies. I think Ron Howard actually directed it, but Lucas, I think, helped write it and produced it. Jesse says, "Oh, thanks for mentioning Wheel of Time. I wanted to buy the last book in the series for my husband for his birthday."
Yeah, that's part of one of the books that Brandon Sanderson finished up while since the main author had passed away, but he left a bunch of notes, and I think he'll like it. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's all I got. Cool. I want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in. Special thanks to Chris Candy. The last few minutes of this episode, you can kind of get a hint for the show that Justin and I will eventually be doing together, which is the 2 of us chatting. Still looking forward to that. We just haven't found the time to record, especially with work things going on with me, training and so forth. But
a lot of good things happening in your life, so we'll get back to it.
Yeah, we will. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Kathleen gets a plug. Check out Pop Culture Addicts and Funny Science Fiction. Tim and Kathleen are dear friends and two of my favorite people. And also, Funny Science Fiction has one of the best mustaches in the business. And then the Scene Snobs, Mick and Casey. Like there's talent and then there's talent. And Mick and Casey are a great combination. And their show is a lot of fun. So check out all of my friends. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. New Matt Talk drops tomorrow. You catch me and John talking about The Magician. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, The Magician episode of Matlock. It was a lot of fun to record. And hopefully we get Justin back on again because we're getting a lot of good buzz about Justin's appearance on Matt Talk.
I love doing it. It was a lot of fun. I love the whole like watch the episode, talk about the episode, and I got to rip John and Jason while doing it. So it was great.
Yeah, interview with Samantha Catan coming soon. Everybody out there, you guys have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Recycle your droids. Shit, where's the mouse? I can't close the show without a mouse.
Man, Jason's rusty.